What is up, ladies and gents? Welcome to this week's Square Gamers podcast, where some squares get together and talk about video games, tech, and whatever else comes to mind. I'm Mike. Today we're graced with Pedro and Undead J. What is up, ladies and gents? How y'all doing? You guys doing good?
Yeah, man.
Did you just call us
I was
ladies?
gonna say.
It's part of it's the part of the whole shebang, guys.
Oh, okay. So it's like the Squares gamer. We have a fourth member on the panelists. It's a female, and she's like just a ghost. The ghost of the Square gamer.
Disembodied voice.
Yeah.
Don't worry, bro. I put the disembodied voice in there. So what do you guys got going on this week? I mean, we had some crazy shit. Resident Evil 7 came out this week. That's going to be fucking sick. But before we jump into actual Resident Evil and other things, we're going to jump right into PsVR. We want to talk about that because PsVR is in a very particular place right now. Granted, there's not too much going out for it. Resident Evil 7 just dropped, so that we get a first like quality game for the VR system for PlayStation. And Jay, me, and Pedro were talking about some stuff, and we want you guys' opinion. So make sure you go to the Facebook group and do all that good stuff. Now, popping off with the first question. Now, Jay, we've been seeing a lot of early adopters with PSVR headsets. Do you think Sony should be worried about this with the Switch coming out because it's more needed to where like PSVRs are just going to be sold at random GameStops and Craigslist and stuff? Do you think that's going to be a problem for Sony?
Yeah, I've been all over the interwebs checking out all these forums and threads, and I'm seeing a trend, which is why I want to bring this up to you guys, because I'm sure you've seen it too. A lot of people, they saw that Nintendo Switch reveal, and people that own PSVRs, they're kind of worried about the future VR, and they're already talking about trading in their headset in order to fund the Nintendo Switch. And I just kind of wanted to get you guys' opinions on whether or not you think that this is a big deal. Is this something that Sony, should be concerned about? And, since Pedro's like our head tech guy, what do you think, Pedro? Do you think this is kind of doom and gloom for the PSVR?
I don't think so at all. This is just initial reactions of people who want to be on the bleeding edge of gaming technology. And this is what happens, man, when you're on there. You just kind of switch from new technology to new technology, and you really have no loyalty to what you're using. So those people may have purchased the PSVR, played it, thought it was a good idea, and maybe at first thought about staying and staying on the VR train until something like Resident Evil 7 came out to, wet their whistle. But then the Nintendo Switch came out and they were like, oh my god, I've got this PSVR, I don't use it, I can trade it in and pay basically nothing for my Switch, why not? And I mean, I think that's what you're seeing right now. It's not indicative of whether or not VR is a failure, because I don't think that PlayStation VR is going to make or break that sector of technology, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's a whole niche. It's a whole nother market almost, and I can understand where Jay's coming from because at the end of the day, a lot of people. I mean, $299 is not a bad price for the Switch, but it's still a lot to swallow considering you have to spend $70 on a Pro controller and an extra $90 on another dock just in case you want to be able to play in multiple rooms. It can be a burden, and a lot of people like having all the extras with it. So I mean, you guys bring up a good point about the how much is the VR? How much can you sell a PSVR right now on GameStop and Craigslist? I mean, because the VR itself was what, $300 just for the VR system itself, just for the headset,
Right,
correct?
not to mention a lot of people that, those early adapters, they were getting the $500 bundles, that came with everything, that came with the controllers and everything. So if they were to take that and trade it in and get store credit towards the Switch at, say, GameStop, they could fund the entire Switch just trading the thing in. And I'm seeing that, like, all these threads I'm seeing, everyone's saying the same thing, that, they haven't played their PSVR since, launch month. And a lot of people just like saying that, games are not making their way onto the console fast enough. And it kind of brings me to my next question. And Mike, I'll let you take this one first. PSVR has been out since October 13th. So do you think that it's in a good place? Like, do you think enough games have made it onto the console at this point, or do you think otherwise?
Um, I mean, what other, through AAA or major titles came out on the PSVR that was a full game other than the one that just released on Tuesday, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard? I mean, I don't see. The thing that sucks about it is because the VR system is still, it's still niche. So maybe if the Resident Evil does well, maybe other developers will stick it out. I mean, because at the end of the day, right now, as it looks, PSVR isn't a healthy place. Granted, the Batman Arkham game for the PSVR is probably the best game up until Resident Evil 7, because I hear Resident Evil 7 on the VR is pretty amazing. Now, how many companies are gonna put that kind of development into a VR system? Because Sony had to give Resident Evil Capcom some money to do this shit. Because how much more development time did it go into it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's in a healthy place because there's only one major title for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to say that that's one of those things that, they say when it comes to VR that, it's best played in small bursts. And so that's why you see a lot of bite-sized games on it, not necessarily, full, 13 to 20-hour games on there. But Pedro, I want to give you that question too before I hit the next question I had for you. Is it in a healthy place?
Yeah, is it in a healthy place? We're only 4 months into the life cycle of the PlayStation VR. You know what I mean? It came out in October, November, December, January, 4 months, and we're expecting this thing to have AAA titles and enough to keep us busy. We got to give it some more time than 4 months. I think what's a decent launch window? 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. First 6 months is a good launch window, I think. If you release a AAA title like Resident Evil within the first 6 months, and then it's something to where you have that, and then you wait till E3, and then E3 you get a smorgasbord of video games that are coming out in VR. I think that'll keep some people who are let's say believers in the VR technology pretty happy. I think where Sony is missing the boat is not in the video game arena. I think where they're missing the boat is getting VR compatible applications on the PlayStation store. Let's go ahead and get a VR version of Netflix, a VR version of YouTube, similar to what Google's doing with their Daydream system. Those are the things that are gonna keep people using VR, because VR is not, like, gaming is not what's gonna push VR into the mainstream. It's gonna be those, I can watch television in virtual reality. I can watch this game using my VR headset, and it's like I'm right on the field, and I can turn my head and I can see who's on the bench, and et cetera, et cetera. It's those types of experiences that are going to push VR to the next level. And right now we're marginalizing it, and Sony is marginalizing it into just being a gaming thing. Whereas if they really want VR to succeed, they gotta add those applications that people can use their VR headsets and consume content until that next big AAA title's coming out.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is not necessarily just gaming applications, but, like being able to be in a sports arena or at a concert. Like, that was a great lead up to my next question that I want to talk about, is that we got a pretty healthy size Facebook group, and just about every single one of us over there are, quote unquote hardcore gamers, and a lot of us are tech junkies, and I just find it very interesting that not a single one of us in that group either owns a PSVR unit or even talks about it. Why do you think that might be, Pedro? Why is it like not, screaming at us to purchase this thing?
Being a tech junkie and wanting to live on the cutting edge of technology, those are two different things. A lot of tech junkies aren't risk averse, so they'll know about they or we would know about the technology, research it, read reviews, and then make that purchasing decision. Whereas a lot of people just kind of buy the newest, hottest thing. And the good thing about our group is we've got a lot of guys that know a lot about technology, work with the technology, sell the technology, and it's causing everybody to kind of just wait. We're all in a holding pattern. We're just waiting for something to entice us to buy. Resident Evil may not be that game to entice us to purchase a PlayStation VR, but it's definitely going to be the one that starts that snowball effect, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, why haven't you purchased a PSVR? It seems like something that you would kind of be into. Does it have anything to do with all the wires that are going to be spread out across your house? The fact that you have two younger daughters that could, possibly break this thing. Are those any of the things going through your head?
No, actually, what's actually going through my head is for the money, Switch would be a better investment,
See.
in my opinion.
See.
And that's only because, I mean, you said it yourself. I have kids, and yeah, the PSVR unit would be super dope. But at the end of the day, I feel like my kids will get more enjoyment out of the Nintendo Switch than they would the PSR or the VR unit. For some reason that there's a lot of like cool little, hour, 2 hour mini games. But Resident Evil 7, actually playing a full game, I don't see it. You know what I mean? If I won't get use out of it, I won't buy it. Especially when it's a $300 unit.
Now
Then I have to buy the Move controllers too. So that's an extra what is the bundles? What, $500?
Yeah.
$400 right now.
Yeah. Let's just say that the Nintendo Switch doesn't exist this year, right? You don't have any other, hardware
No.
purchase it. You still wouldn't get it?
No. And it's the simple reason that Pedro brought up with the whole there's nothing else going with it. Only for the simple reason that after hearing about the Google Daydream and stuff and all those little cool technologies that they're going into that. I mean, I understand what Pedro's saying. There's nothing else other than gaming. If there was something else there to draw, maybe. But at the end of the day, I still prefer the controller in my hand and looking at the TV. The PSVR unit doesn't call my name out.
Yeah, like one thing I was going to add to this conversation, and the real reason that I haven't purchased one, I still trying to figure out why I haven't purchased one, because it seems like it'd be right up my alley. I was one of the big advocates for 3D television and gaming. My favorite memory of last generation was playing Killzone 3 in 3D. I had my buddy come over who was a total downer on 3D. He thought, he was so skeptical. As soon as I let him try on the glasses and he tried it, he freaks out. He screams to his wife, who is downstairs, and is like, "Babe, we got to get a 3D TV." So, like, this seems like something I'd be all over. But then when I sit there and I think about it, I don't know what kind of games that I would actually want to play in VR, because I know that movement is still an issue when it comes to, virtual reality games. Like, how do you get your character to move in this 3D space? So I know it's not going to be ideal for shooters. And then I think of like any kind of like exploration type of games that I'd want to play in VR, and I don't know. So I wonder if, the developers are just like me. Like, what types of games should we be developing for this, unit? And I think that's still a big question mark right now. And I really do think that it's the reason that I haven't purchased one. And to hit on what you said, Mike, I agree. What I did was I wanted to wait and see what the Nintendo Switch did. And if I wasn't sold on the Switch, then I think I really may consider buying a PSVR. But now that I did see that Switch reveal and I am sold on it, I think like PSVR is even more out of the question. So then, Pedro, let me shoot you this next question. How long should Sony continue to support this console if, it's just kind of selling dismally? Like, how long do you think they will let it stay on the market until they just cut their loss like they did the PS Vita?
I mean, I would give it another year and a half at least, before you give up on VR as a whole. And I mean, I'm telling you, I'm gonna keep harping on this, and the reason being, even the main console, the PlayStation 4, is not only a video game console. It's a multimedia hub that controls your television. So you need to take that same approach when you look at VR, and you got to add those other apps, man. You have to, because they're gonna be slow periods, there're gonna be lulls in the process, and that's when, if you can catch that game in VR, if you can watch that movie, if you could have that conversation, where maybe they create, maybe they bring back PS Home, but they turn it into a strictly VR experience, and it could be like, instead of us talking on a party chat, it's our avatars hanging out at a bar, drinking beers, and you're using your VR headset to speak to them and to look at the person next to you, or look at the person's avatar who's sitting next to you as if you're sitting in a real bar. Like, those are ideas that you could use to kind of keep people engaged in number one, and number two, have people up on VR technology.
Well said. Well said.
Good point, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. That was very well said. One thing I just want to ask both of you guys before I wrap up this VR talk is so we got PSVR, Nintendo Switch, and then we have Microsoft's new Scorpio, all coming out. They're all going up this holiday season for that holiday cash. Like, who do you think's going to come out on top? Mike, I'll shoot the question to you first.
Scorpio, to be honest with you.
You think Scorpio is going to sell better than the Switch?
Yeah, because I mean, the Switch has mixed reviews. The Scorpio is a fucking monster. It's a monster. I can't see people not getting it because of the simple reason of all the stuff that's capable of doing. I mean, it's literally the first 4K machine. PS4 Pro uses the interlace technology that they worked up in the lab, and it's not true K4. It's not true 4K res. So I don't know. It's in my opinion, I think Scorpio is going to take it off because, if I have the money when Scorpio drops, I will be buying one. So that's me. That's just my opinion, though.
Got you, Pedro. Same question to you.
Switch will win only because the price will probably be half of what a Scorpio is going to cost. I'm going to go with the Scorpio. It's going to cost around $600, especially for a device that powerful. The good thing about the Scorpio is that, and I hope this is still the case, that it will be compatible with either the Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive. So, I mean, you can still do VR using that, and it'll probably be the cheapest way to get, quote unquote, a true VR system in an Oculus Rift or an HTC Vive.
Which would spell more bad news for the PSVR. What were you gonna say, Mike?
Well, it's only because a PC, a rig to run a HTC Vive or Oculus is ridiculous, and if the Scorpio does come out as Pedro predicted, 600 bones for that monster, there's no reason not to. I mean, because last time I checked, in order to build a rig to power the Oculus or the Vive, it was going to take anywhere from 800 to 1200. 1200 being like middle ground, 800 is being the bare minimum. So, I mean, he brings up a good point. But the Switch, the Switch, the Switch being $300, people are going to be people are going to be less hesitant than the Scorpio. So, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you have to look at the Scorpio for what it is. The Switch will probably appeal more to a broader audience because of the Switch, with families and et cetera, et cetera. The Scorpio is more towards like, the hardcore, bleeding edge of consoles, because the Scorpio is going to be, it's going to be a more powerful Xbox One. You don't have to upgrade if you don't need to.
Yeah, I didn't want to get too derailed, but I was just curious as to what the PSVR's outlook look like this holiday season. It seems we all kind of agree that it doesn't look too great. I wouldn't want to be the PSVR like going up against one new console and one upgraded console. But one thing is for sure, that it doesn't seem like any of the three of us will be purchasing one anytime soon. And I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys, and we rarely ever talk about PSVR, and I feel like now was a pretty good time since it was launching with Resident Evil, and I would say that Sony better come swinging for the fence at E3 this year if they want to start moving the PSVR unit. And thanks for talking about that with me, guys. So that was it. That's all I want to talk about VR wise.
So we're gonna move on right on to the
Yeah,
next.
let's
What was that?
Sorry.
You're
I
good.
just want to table that conversation until after E3, because
Yeah.
I think this is pre-E3 thoughts. After E3, we may think differently about PSVR.
I hope we do, man. I really hope we do.
I mean, because with the amount of R&D that went into that, I don't think they're gonna scrap it anytime soon.
Right, absolutely. But then again, look at what they did with the Vita, so you never know.
The Vita was a success in Japan, not in the U.S.
Yeah, true.
But speaking of success, Mass Effect, one of the top-rated series of all time, in my opinion. I gotta put that out there for you motherfuckers. But Mass Effect Andromeda, they dropped another trailer today, guys. Trailer number 2, and I got some juicy. They showed some juicy info. Apparently, there's 20,000 humans left, and they're floating around space looking for a new Earth.
Hey, and I bet none of them are playing PSVR.
Probably not. And they're floating around space looking for a new Earth, and they run into the Archon, and the Archon's this super badass looking guy with a handle on the back of his head. I can imagine what the handle's for. Maybe he takes it. I don't know. Maybe. But the coolest thing about the coolest thing about the trailer, in my opinion, Pedro, because I know you're a huge fan of Mass Effect, the Krogan, bro. The Krogan, and I don't know if you guys watched the trailer. At the very end of the trailer, the new Shepard says, "I don't need an army. I got a Krogan." And
I got a Krogan. Yeah.
The first thing I thought was Pedro,
Dude,
is the Krogans were beast. The Krogans.
I hope that I could customize my Krogan and like change its colors. I'm gonna turn him into Barney.
But no, the Mass Effect Andromeda is looking really good, guys. I mean, looking fucking sick. Story wise, there's not too much information. They did show that the ship does look like a fucking Normandy, and they're basically surviving on this like little desolate space station, and their resources are dwindling. So basically, you play as the Pathfinder going from continent to continent or planet to planet looking for a survivable world, and you run into Archon, which is probably, by the looks of it, Pedro, they introduced a bunch of new, a new race at the very end of the trailer when the Pathfinder or Shepard is walking out the ship. I don't know if you've seen that. They look like the Asari, but they're different. Like they have long dreads instead of the short ones. You know what I mean at the very end of the trailer?
Yeah, that may just be like some elder shit though. Who knows?
So does this trailer get you hyped as I am? Because I mean, the fucking thing looks sick. The actual love
That was
scene
alright.
at the towards the end of the trailer looks like it gets pretty PG
But I'll tell you what,
18
that was a
almost.
very
You know what I
steamy
mean?
love scene.
Did you see
It's
that part too?
probably some of the most accurate love making that I've seen in video games ever.
Bro, he was like sucking on her neck.
And all I saw, yeah, I know, bro. Tell you what, a lot of y'all gamers out there play Mass Effect, learn how to caress a woman properly.
Oh damn! Stop watching porno. Fucking shit. But no, this game comes out on March the 21st, which is probably fucking. That's like super close, like almost a month and a half, and we have already crowded first quarters. We're gonna jump right into next. We're talking 15 games coming out in January, still left to come out, and then we have a whole full month of February coming out, which a lot of the games aren't big names, but we have a lot of big names that are coming out that are going to be fighting over some money. We're going to jump right into it, guys. Just so you know, Resident Evil 7 just came out on Tuesday. Tales of Vesperia came out on Thursday. Yakuza 0, which, guys, if you haven't looked that up. That game looks fucking crazy. Did you guys get to watch any of those trailers or any of the gameplay footage of this game?
No. I did see it's getting great fucking reviews all over the board, though.
I know, and it just came out on Tuesday, on the same day Resident Evil did, and Yakuza looks like I won't say better game, but it looks like a funner game. We have the new Hitman coming out on the end of the month in January, or not really a Hitman, but it's more like a completely like deluxe box.
Oh, that's just the complete first season.
Yeah, that seems.
Gotcha. It's got all the
pretty
episodes.
Dope. But we have a Vita game, bro, coming out on January 31st. Are you fucking excited, bro?
Not so much because I sold my Vita.
I know, that's why I brought that up. Dynasty Godseekers. That game looks really cool. And Tower of Ascension coming out for the Xbox One on January 25th. Now let's get into the real deal. February is going to be a ridiculous month. Before we get into the big shit, do you remember the Switch reveal, guys? And they showed off Fire Emblem Heroes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know that's a fucking Android game, right?
No, I didn't know that.
It's coming out on the Android first. So that's
Damn.
another port from another system.
Shit. Look at
That's
that.
terrible.
Another port. Yet
That is,
another port.
Yet another port. Okay. Now, probably my most anticipated game this year, For Honor, is coming out on February 4th. And then a week prior to that, another one of the games I'm actually super
14.
hyped for. I got to play the last trial demo, Noah, is coming out. It's a week from that. And then another week from that, Halo Wars 2 comes out. And then another week after that, Horizon Dawn or Horizon Zero Dawn comes out after that, like a week after that. So we're talking like $300 in video games in 1 month. Is that too much for you guys? Is that
Dude,
something?
I think 2017 is going to go down as one of the best years of gaming in quite some time. Like, now that the Xbox One and the PS4 have been on the market for quite some time, like, we have quite a library that's headed to these consoles this year. And then on top of it, we're getting a brand new console in the Nintendo Switch, and we're getting a new Zelda game, and we're getting a new Mario game. Like, guys, I think like this is like the freaking best year in gaming that I've probably ever witnessed as a hardcore gamer. Like, this shit, it's just insane.
And that doesn't even cover March. Like this first full first quarter is going to be ridiculous. Now, the For Honor beta is out today, guys. I actually got into the closed beta. I'm fucking sick. I'm excited because I've been dying to play this game. I try to get into the alpha, and they're like, "Fuck you, Mike. You're not important enough to get into the alpha." But Halo Wars 2 is another big game. I mean, that's probably be like a console mover for Xbox One, because apparently a lot of people are super hyped for it. I never got to play it. Did any of you guys get to play Halo Wars 2?
Are they though? Like, I didn't know there was a lot of hype behind that game. I thought it was kind of like just like a fan service for like a few thousand people that actually like the game, but is there a big following behind it?
Well, because the problem is there's no RTSs on the console that's any good, and Halo Wars, the original, was amazing.
Right. I
Which,
could be
you know,
wrong on that. I'm just not embedded in that world whatsoever, so I didn't know if there was a huge following for it or not.
Well, I mean, it's not ginormous, but it's enough to where I feel like people might go out and buy it just for the simple reason that because the game does look really cool for what it is. I'm not a big RTS fan, but
Right.
Horizon Zero Dawn, Jay, and I know that's probably one of your top games this coming first quarter. What are your opinions on that game?
I was going to say that, everyone's been real high on the game until recently that they dropped that new cinematic trailer where it gives off some story bits, and that's actually it's the first time that game's been shown, and it wasn't received well. A lot of people have some concerns now because they showed off some of the characters, and I guess some of the voice acting wasn't up to snuff in some people's eyes, and it's people are starting to compare it to Far Cry Primal. I can see the comparison as I did play that game, but I'm still hyped for it. I think it's going to be great. Something people need to take into consideration is that the developer for this game, which is Guerrilla Games, they've only ever did shooters before. They did the Killzone franchise, so this is them dipping their toes in something completely new. So I mean, to think that you're going to get a story that's going to blow you away, I think you might want to curb your expectations a little bit. One thing you do need to know is that the controls should be on point. That's one thing. Killzone, the controls were outstanding. And then, the visuals. I mean, we've all seen the trailers. The visuals they look incredible. And the only concern I have for Horizon is that it comes out. I want to say it's 3 days before Zelda Breath of the Wild. So that's a scary thought.
Yeah, the 28th of February. I mean, it's definitely a game I got my eye on. Granted, I have Noah and For Honor coming out literally a week from each other. So those are two games I'm probably gonna have to get. But there's
Pedro,
there's one thing.
Hold on, I was gonna say, Pedro, do you think that that's a scary release date for that game, being that the Switch is so close right behind it?
No, absolutely not. I think that's the perfect release date for that game because it reminds people that the PlayStation 4 is still there.
Yeah, true that.
Good idea. Good thought. But Jay, I want to hit on one more game that people might be excited for or might not be excited for. Double Dragon. Do you remember that game?
Double Dragon. Yeah, I remember that game.
Double Dragon 4, 29th, PS4. It is a completely 8-bit Double Dragon from the old days coming to the PS4 on the 29th of January.
Dude, how did I not hear about this game? I had no idea.
Look it up. It's going to be
It's Sunday.
It's going to be marketplace only or PSN only. So
now, does it have any co-op, couch co-op mode, or
2-player?
Do you know?
2-player as far as I know.
Sweet. Sweet.
That's sick. I wanted to bring that up because that's another, that's a classic. That's one of those games. If you're 80s or early 80s, late 80s kid, you play Double Dragon.
Dude, that was such a clutch game, bro. I had so many good memories of Double Dragon. God.
Bro, check that shit out. It looks fucking sick. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. Cool.
But I think that's all we got for you guys this week. Make sure you go to the YouTube guys, Square Gamers, and then go down to facebook.com/the Square Gamers, and also join our group / the Square Gamers. Jay, what you got going on Twitch, bro?
Twitch, just check it out. Keep your eyes on it. I'm going to be playing some Witcher 3. I'm going to set up some story missions, so follow there. And I just want to give a quick shout out. Check out the new Prey trailer. That game looks incredible.
Well, there you go, guys. You heard it first here at the Square Gamers, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace.